Welcome back, everybody. Angel Art's back again, and thank you very much for coming to another episode of Gay Let's Play Dragon Age Inquisition.
True. Butler has stand on us. I hope my hunch was wrong.
You knew him well?
Not as well as I thought. Show me the reports.
Oh, looks like we actually have more things we can say to Leliana, so I guess we'll go ahead and talk to her about it.
There were so many questions surrounding Faria's death. Did he think we wouldn't notice? He's killed Faria, one of my best agents, and knows where the others are. You know what must be done. Make it clean. Painless if you can. We were friends once.
Do not interfere at all. Encourage Leliana to kill the traitor agent. Stop Leliana from killing the traitor agent. Ooh. Do you have to kill him? Traitors deserve to die. Well, I think Art would ask this question. Or would he remain neutral? Stop Leliana from killing the traitor. Traitors deserve to die. Remain silent. Do not interfere. Angelus would answer this way. Clive would probably answer this way. Art is somewhere in between. I think I see Art somewhere between Clive and Angelus in terms of personality. I think he would not intervene at all. I think he would just I think it's Leliana's call. I mean, he respects her to make the right call on this, you know. So he's just gonna not interfere at all. And we'll see what happens, I guess, with that.
It will be done.
I'm sorry you had to see that. Trust me. Everything I do is to protect our interests. Now, if you're happy, I have more work to do.
Wow. Alright, well, I guess I can't... Well, okay. But I think I did what... I think I roleplayed and did whatever, whatever Art would do.
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
Something tells me Leliana's pretty secretive. Let's start with... Well, that's what Art would ask.
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, a Norwegian spy for many years. For a time I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
I'd like to be a bard.
Can you teach me to be a bard?
Being a bard is so much more than being a spy. It involves a keen understanding of politics, the ebb and flow of influence, the great game. The bard's is an intricate dance where a smile can be sharper than any dagger. The best way to learn is to immerse yourself in it. Perhaps when this is all over, I'll teach you.
Cool.
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some
Ooh,
good ones.
Leliana gets to tell stories.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
Leliana, I want you to tell me a story.
I should leave you to your work.
We can always talk
Come
later.
on. Come on, Leliana. Come on, Leliana.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
Yeah, with her line of work. Did you know Hawk?
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the Chantry.
Oh, Bethany.
And she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly.
But I love
encounter
them.
the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
I love how there was a nod towards Bethany, because in Dragon Age 2, Bethany mentions her enjoying Leliana's story. So it's really cool she made mention of that.
Was this when the Chantry was destroyed?
No, that happened later. But even then, the news coming out of Kirkwall was disheartening. There were some in Val Rayo who wanted the Divine to declare an exalted march on Kirkwall. Justina sent me there to see if that could be avoided, to gather evidence to calm those agitating for war. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
We'll talk later.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am? Yes?
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did. What of it?
Why don't you join my party? Exactly. Exactly.
What exactly does the left hand of the Divine do?
A Divine always has enemies, and Justinia had more than most. I protected her. I watched, had an ear to every door. I identified threats, and I dealt with them.
Why did Justinia have so many enemies?
There were many who felt she was unfit to be divine. She had a past, a worldly life. Unlike many, she wasn't given to the Chantry as a child. She chose it, and somehow that made her unworthy.
That's
and because
weird.
they thought she was unworthy, they wished her harm.
Yeah, that stinks. That's a bit shady. You're evading the question. Sounds like a spy master.
So, you were her spy master too.
I handled difficult situations that couldn't be resolved through more delicate means.
Right.
I'd like to hear about Justinia. What was she like?
A friend. A mentor. Like me, she had secrets, made mistakes. It made her human. I think her followers responded to that.
Yeah, I would say so. How did you meet?
How did you and Justinia meet?
I met her a long time ago, before she became divine. Before she was Justinia. When I met her, she was Mother Dorothea. I was at my lowest. Broken. Lost. And she saved me.
Yeah.
No, wait. She hates it when I say that. I saved myself. She just showed me it was possible.
That's very sweet. Were you more than friends?
Was there something more than friendship between you?
You're
Ooh.
asking if we were lovers. Typical. I was devoted to her, therefore it must be romantic.
Well,
Love
you
is
know.
common. Love is simple. My bond with Justinia was something greater. She was a sister,
Love
a
is
mother,
simple.
a teacher. So to answer your question, yes, it was more than friendship.
I would call love a lot of things, but simple? Love is not simple, Leliana. I'm sorry to say. Love can get very complicated. A lot of people can say that.
We'll talk more later.
That's where we disagree.
I'm listening.
Love is not simple.
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
Okay. Carry on, Leliana.
I'll leave you to your work.
I could, second guess myself over having letting Leliana, take care of the traitor, but it was her call. I mean, if somebody caused the death of someone in the Inquisition, it's her call to decide how to handle that.
When will you be able to get
And Art wasn't going to intervene, because he still sees Leliana as his superior, or at least someone who's smarter than him and knows about those kind of things than he does. Knows about those kinds of things better than he does. All right, let me go speak to Cassie and Cullen. Ooh, where's Cullen? Where's Cassandra? Where's Cullen? Oh, Cullen's over here somewhere. Oh, cool. Alright, I'm gonna save Cullen for last. Hey. You need stronger dummies. You're impressive. Oh. Yeah, I don't see Cassandra like that, unfortunately. She's not exactly Art's type. Is that supposed to be me?
I think you need practice dummies made of sturdier stuff.
That would be nice.
Like maybe iron.
Did I do the right thing?
She seems really upset.
What I have set in motion here could destroy everything I have revered my whole life. One day they may write about me as a traitor, a madwoman, a fool. And they may be right.
What do you believe?
What does your faith tell you?
I believe you are innocent. I believe more is going on here than we can see. And I believe no one else cares to do anything about it. They will stand in the fire and complain that it is hot. But is this the Maker's will? I can only guess.
You don't think I'm the Herald of Andraste?
I think you were sent to help us. I hope you were. But the Maker's help takes many forms. Sometimes it's difficult to discern who it truly benefits, or how.
That's very profound.
What's going to happen now?
Now, we deal with the Chantry's panic over you before they do even more harm. Then we close the breach. We are the only ones who can. After that, we find out who is responsible for this chaos, and we end them.
Well, there's a plan.
And if there are consequences to be paid for what I have done, I pay them.
That's great.
I only pray the price is not too high.
Ooh, the dummy just disappears. We definitely need stronger stuff. You had to do it, Cassie.
You didn't have any choice.
Didn't I? My trainers always said, Cassandra, you are too brash. You must think before you act. I see what must be done, and I do it. I see no point in running around in circles like a dog chasing its tail. But I misjudged you in the beginning, did I not? I thought the answer was before me, clear as day. I cannot afford to be so careless again.
The Reclusi arc, David, if you're watching this, I can definitely see what you see in this woman. I can definitely see you falling head over heels in love with this woman. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to watch that and live vicariously, because Cassandra seems like an awesome romance. I'd love to see that.
It wasn't like you had no reason to suspect me.
I was determined to have someone answer for what happened. Anyone.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you even believe in the Maker?
He's, like I said, he's agnostic. So I'm gonna say I don't know.
I can't really say.
I suppose it doesn't matter now. I have to believe we were put on this path for a reason, even if you do not. Now it simply remains to see where it leads us.
Okay. Cool. That was a really good, awesome
To
conversation.
me, I don't
with Cassandra.
actually know much about you.
What do you want to know?
I'm not sure. Where are you from?
It's good to have people ask me questions for a change instead of me coming. It's always awkward for me going up to people and asking them, so, you know, tell me about yourself. Cassandra's actually asking me, which is pretty refreshing. Where are you from? Make something up you don't know. I'm not going to beat around the bush. That she wouldn't appreciate that. I'm just going to tell her up front. I have no reason to hide where I came from.
No specific place. My mercenary band worked mostly in the free marches, however.
At least until you crossed the waking sea to reach the Conclave, I suppose. Tell me, do you consider the free marches your home? Are you eager to go back?
Home is wherever I am. I'd go now if I had a choice. Eventually, perhaps.
I might, once this is done.
It will not be the same once you do.
Alright, now you tell me about yourself.
I'd like to get to know you better.
You would?
Is that a problem?
Not entirely. I'm just curious as to your motivation.
I can flirt, but no.
No motivation beyond making things between us less...
Antagonistic?
Exactly.
Yeah.
As you wish. My name is Cassandra Pentagast, daughter of the Royal House of Navarra, 78th in line for the Navarran throne. I joined the Seekers of Truth as a young woman, and was with the Order until they withdrew from the Chantry. I remained as the Divine's right hand, carrying out her order to form the Inquisition. And here we are. That's all there is to know, my lord.
Wow.
You're a member of Navarra's royal family.
The Pentagasts are a very large clan. Half of Cumberland could say the same.
Really?
No,
Wow.
but it feels that way. I have hundreds of relatives so distant they need charts to prove we're related at all. And they have them. Oh yes. The Pentagasts value their precious blood like it runs with gold.
Wow. The Pentagast sounds like a pretty awesome family indeed.
And you joined the Seekers to get away from that.
It was a life worth getting away from. The Pentagasts are famed for dragon hunting, but few actually pursue the craft. Most are fat
Wow.
and lazy. They pay lip service to the Maker and care only for idle pleasures and past glories. My
Okay.
brother was all that kept me in Navarra. Once he was gone, so was I.
Tell me about your brother.
I would prefer not to speak of Anthony. Another time, perhaps.
Yeah, once we get a little bit more friendship with Cassandra, she might open up a little bit more.
You don't seem to like your homeland much.
My family polluted it for me. What little I saw of my homeland was through the bars of a gilded cage. My uncle treated me like a porcelain doll to be placed on a shelf and dusted only when necessary. Thus I did not see Navarra, the real Navarra, until much later. By then I realized I knew it not at all.
Your uncle. What about your parents?
They had the misfortune of taking the wrong side in the second attempt to overthrow King Marcus. The king executed them, but spared my brother and I since we were family, and children at the time. Thus we were raised by my uncle, a mortalitasi who preferred the company of his corpses to the living.
Mortalitasi?
Your uncle was a mortalitasi?
A death mage. He still is. My countrymen do not burn the dead, they bury them in special crypts. The mortalitasi supervise the crypts, like priests. Uncle Vestalis oversees the grand necropolis. Navarrans spend more time honoring dead relatives than they do with living ones. It is odd to be so fascinated with death and its trappings. I will never understand it.
So you were the right hand to the Divine.
To Divine Justinia, yes. And Divine Beatrix before her, in fact. The position is normally reserved for Templars of the Knights Divine, but my circumstances were unusual.
Unusual how?
You don't know the story? Thank the Maker. I will tell you if you wish, but it isn't as exciting as some drum it up to be.
Try
The
me.
short version is that I once saved the previous Divine's life. My reward was becoming her right hand.
You might have to explain that to Art.
But what does a right hand do exactly?
What is your hand capable of? It gives, it takes, it beckons. It makes a fist. Leliana and I extended the Divine's reach beyond the Grand Cathedral. We went where she could not. After Beatrix, I was tired of the position and wanted to return to the Seekers. But Justinia convinced me to stay. Her vision for the future gave me hope.
You thought you could really change things?
Justinian knew the war was coming long before it began. She tried to avert it, but the forces arrayed against her were too strong. Sometimes you have to break a bone so it can be reset. That's where the Inquisition comes in. It was to be the answer, A means to preserve as well as an agent for change. I only wish she had lived to see it.
I'm definitely a big Justinia fan. I mean, say what you want about your feelings about the Chantry in this universe, but Justinia V, she kind of reminds me of Pope Francis. The person who is Pope currently under this recording is Pope Francis, and he is arguably, regardless of whether or not you follow the Catholic Church or not, he's arguably one of the most revolutionary popes that we've had in a very long time. And, you know, the Pope Benedict before him was more of a traditionalist, and Pope Francis is definitely, you know, pushing the envelope of a lot of very, you know, very progressive things. And Dorothea was kind of like that. You know, she had sort of like this worldly past, worldly background, and people who were more traditionalistic didn't really like that very much. So you know, it's kind of neat to kind of see that parallelism sort of in our real world too. And I'm a big part of the reason why I'm a big Justinia V fan.
So what's the story about you becoming the right hand?
Sweet Andraste, do you really want to hear that? It was,
yeah,
what, 18, 20 years ago? Some still discuss it like it happened yesterday. The tale gets bigger each time it's told. I barely recognize myself with it now.
So tell me, you're being modest.
I'm sure you're just being modest.
I was there. I think I know what happened. To hear others tell it, I alone saved Divine Beatrix from a horde of dragons sent to assault the Grand Cathedral. Rather impressive for such a young seeker, wouldn't you say?
And
yeah.
The truth is?
I stumbled upon a conspiracy to kill Beatrix. A Templar Knight Commander was at its heart, and there was a dragon battle at the Grand Cathedral, but I had help from loyal mages who rallied to the cause. They freed the dragons from magical control. Without them, the Divine and I would both have died. Yet I became the right hand, and they are forgotten.
Oh, wow. So what did become of the mages?
What happened to the mages that helped you?
They went back to their circles, with rewards and privileges and most holiest gratitude.
Well, that's good.
Many of them died at the conclave.
Oh, that's terrible.
I think you're a hero, no matter how you downplay it.
Fine. But it was 20 years ago. I will not rest upon my laurels.
She's just like Art in that she doesn't want accolades, she doesn't want recognition, she does things, that's not her motivation, and that's not really Art's motivation either. So they have that in common.
I'll let you get back to work.
Yes, let you get back to work so I can talk to Cullen!
Do you
Well,
need
let me see if you have
something?
anything to say. I don't think you have anything new to say, right? Yeah. Well, tell me about this. I think we still have. Tell me about the Seekers.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
What are Seekers, exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine. And not even her, truthfully.
So nobody ever watched over the Seekers?
It was the Divine's duty. But she could only do so much when the truth was hidden from her. The Templars have always feared
Somebody
her.
jumped out of the tent back
When a
there.
Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
By the way, I really love how dynamic the environment is in terms of the people around you. Like if you're watching, I'm just watching the people here that are going over their drills. In Origins, compared to Origins and Dragon Age 2, like the people around us, it just feels so alive. It's just, like I said, it feels so dynamic. I love that. Someone insists it does. They are the blind ones.
Do you think that kind of problem could ever be fixed?
Possibly. Though the Seekers themselves would need to change. They were clearly not willing to, even though they abandoned everything they stood for to avoid it. In my heart, I believe they can still be salvaged, but not by their own hands.
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages. Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training.
Okay.
We cannot be possessed by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful, considering our role.
That is useful.
Seekers can gain other gifts, though that depends on the individual.
That's pretty cool. What are your
What kind of
gifts?
gifts do you have?
I can set the lyrium within a person's blood aflame. Both mages and Templars bend before my will.
Wow.
Some Seekers use it to interrogate, others simply to paralyze. Once there was a Seeker who could use it to kill. That particular gift is considered rare.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the vigil, and most fail even then.
Is the vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every Seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people.
Wow.
We
A full
empty
year.
ourselves of all emotion, focusing only on the purity of our devotion. And the
Wow.
moment it finally ends, it's wonderful. Faith realized. I cannot put it into words.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is dedication. Wow.
Was it some kind of magic?
I don't fully understand it, to be honest. If the vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
Why did your order turn against the Chantry?
We originally united with the Chantry through a treaty that stated they would keep mages under control. It was felt Most Holy had tacitly allowed the Circle of Magi to vote on its independence, thus breaking the treaty. The Seekers saw themselves as justified, and they led the Templars into a war of righteousness.
You sound like you disagree.
We knew what was happening at Kirkwall, where the Mage Rebellion began. We looked into reports of Knight Commander Meredith's harsh treatment of her charges years earlier. But we found so many shocking cases of magical corruption, it was decided her actions were justified. If we'd been there when it happened, if we'd looked harder at the root causes...
Let's see.
You seem to care a great deal about it.
Too much, if you ask the rest of my order. When faced with a problem, the Seekers would close ranks and crush it. We would find an answer, but only once we felt we weren't being coerced. The moment the mages voted for independence, our response was predictable. It was difficult to watch.
Wow.
I've no more questions.
I'm learning a lot about Cassandra. Heck of a
Do you
lot.
need something?
One more question, I think. Let's talk about the Chantry.
May I ask you about the Chantry?
It is difficult to say what becomes of the Chantry now. They have no Templars, no leadership, and no one left who is worthy of succeeding the Divine. It has fallen apart when everyone needs it the most. I ache to think what this will mean in the days to come.
Do you really believe the Chantry is worth preserving?
I do. Though I understand how someone born outside of human society might think otherwise. Cast
well.
the Chantry aside and new problems replace old ones. We will have learned nothing from history. The people need stability, and the Chantry needs a new purpose. Andraste had a dream for us. It can still be achieved.
I think Art agrees with that.
So what should that new purpose be?
A dedication to what is truly important. Instead of building cathedrals and sewing gowns for the divine, the Chantry used to spend its coin feeding the poor. If we are to spread the Maker's word across the world, we must do so with open hearts and open hands.
I'm not gonna say that.
Will the Chantry replace Divine Justinia?
They will try. Once the priests withdraw for the Grand Consensus, it is against Chantry law for them to emerge without naming a new divine.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it takes days, or weeks, or even months. The problem now is that no clear successor to Justinia exists. All worthy clerics died with her at the conflict.
Yeah.
So what happens if they can't agree on something?
Theoretically, they will argue until exhaustion takes them or they see reason. Practically, however, if the Grand Consensus goes on too long, the Chantry will crumble.
Wow.
Any cleric with ambition but little sense will see this as her one chance, and plenty of such clerics exist. We shall see what happens. The Inquisition must act in the meantime.
I'm wondering if one of the things we can do during this game is to rebuild the Chantry, or choose a new divine, just like choosing a new leader for Ferelden, a new king or queen, or both for Ferelden.
If they do choose a new divine, will you serve her?
That depends on whether she would have me. I am a rebel now, remember? And even if she would, I do not know. It would depend on what type of divine she is. I am no longer in a position to follow blindly, and no new divine could expect such obedience now.
It would be interesting if we could put in a pitch to have Cassandra or Leliana become the next divine. I don't think that's how that's going to work, because neither of them are clerics, but I was just thinking.
What influence does Chancellor Roderick really wield?
He's a bureaucrat, responsible for communicating the divine's will to the rest of the Chantry. Therefore, he's accustomed to the clerics hanging on his every word, hoping his influence will benefit them. Despite that, Roderick is not a bad man. He's frightened, and believes his place is to fill the gap left by Most Holy's death. Some might agree. As far down the chain of command as he is, there is no one left above him.
This is the big question.
How big a problem could he be?
No more than he is already. He sent his message to the College of Clerics. That is the only card he had to play. Dealing with him further only lends him credibility he doesn't deserve.
Yeah, but I don't know. He's starting to feel like, again, the Sister Patrice of this game.
I'm surprised you rebelled against the Chantry.
I left my own order when they took the wrong path. It is no different. But in neither case did I stop caring. Indeed, I care so much that I feel drastic action is necessary. I suppose history shall one day judge my actions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cassandra. I think
Yes.
that there's nothing left. Yeah, I think that's it. We've exhausted everything for Cassandra. Learned a lot
That's
here.
enough for now.
Another time, then.
Okay, I feel like that's all we have time for this episode. But hold on to your hats, Cullen Knights. At long last, I will finally chat it up with Cullen in the next video, because I've purposely saved him for last. So thank you guys again for watching, and until next time, everybody, love yourselves and love each other.